Hello.
Hi, friends.
How are you?
Hope you're well.
This is our last episode of the night.
Yeah, and we're nearing the end at this point of spooky season.
Yeah.
You got
We're a
this episode
few.
plus two more.
Yeah.
So we hope you've enjoyed it thus far.
Yeah.
We've had fun
Yeah.
recording it tonight. It's
been-
been a long day.
And then we're going to get a break. A long break.
Yeah. Like, I don't even
Nice.
think we need to plan tonight.
No, we can plan later. We already know what two of them will be. So
I can think of one.
we'll do part 2 of
and then,
next week's episode and then our state. We'll pick back
and
up
then
the
we'll
states.
also have the catch-up episode. So
Yeah. So look at that.
That's 3.
It'll be easy peasy.
Which is cool because November's kind of one of those in-between months.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this week we're talking to you about,
Demonic possessions.
and if this episode sucks, you can blame yours truly because I did this one. And that also means it's going to be a rather short episode, so enjoy.
Next week will be a juicy one.
Yeah.
So
we're going to start off with the exorcism of Laura that happened in 2015. In Argentina, church officials filmed the exorcism of 22-year-old woman named Laura by 55-year-old Bishop Manuel Acuna. This took place in a Catholic church. The video is available on YouTube, by the way. While being restrained by as many as 5 people at a time, Laura writhed, banged her head, and screamed profanities, broke free of the restraints, and contorted into some pretty crazy positions. Supposedly, the exorcism ended well as the evil spirits left Laura, and the bishop made the sign of the cross over her. Per the bishop, she gave a strangled cry, closed her eyes, and fell backwards, exhausted.
is this Marcia? Is that how you say that?
What?
The next name.
Oh,
Marcia? Marcia?
Marcia. I don't know.
Marcia?
That was literally a copy and paste of how it was spelled.
Gotcha. I'm going to say Marcia Corneses. I'm not even going to try to say her middle name. Her story started...
That's the easiest one. It's Irina.
Irina? I'm just going to call her Irina. How
Okay.
about that? Her story started as tragic as it ends. Her father committed suicide when she was young, which led to her mother becoming an alcoholic. Irina left a children's home where she was abused by the caretakers. She worked for a short while as a housekeeper. Her goal in life was to move to Germany with a friend. The goal was quickly let go when she visited the Holy Trinity Monastery in Târgu, Romania in 2005. This was meant to be a quick visit. However, that nun life called to her. It was in her time there that she really started hearing the voices in her head. She had previously been diagnosed as schizophrenic, but she just knew these voices she was hearing was the devil himself talking to her. An exorcism was performed where she was left in a dank convent room, gagged with a towel while bound to a cross for 3 days. She was deprived of food and water. She ultimately died at the age of 23 due to dehydration and suffocation en route to the hospital. Father Daniel Peter Corajanu, along with 4 nuns, were charged. He was defrocked and sentenced to 14 years, and the nuns were all charged with various prison terms. Good.
Right.
She was schizophrenic, not possessed.
And you're going to find that in a lot of these.
Yeah.
So in 1974, this happened in 1974, when Englishman Michael Taylor, a husband and father of 5, met 21-year-old Pastor Murray Robinson, his frequent bouts of depression seemed to ease. In part, Taylor believed it was due to Robinson's ability to exorcise the demons plaguing him. After his wife confronted Taylor about a possible affair with Robinson, he physically attacked her. This led to an actual exorcism by 2 ministers that took place on October 5th, 1974. Michael had seizures, spit at and bit the exorcist, and screamed screamed in tongues. I'm sorry, there was a typo there.
Yeah, and it was a funny one.
Yeah.
If you can imagine what the word screamed might have been typoed too.
A letter was omitted, okay? The next day, he brutally murdered his wife. He wasn't convicted, however, because of the defense's argument that the exorcism had made him insane. I'm going to be real with you. I don't remember writing that.
It happens. It happens all the time. It happens to me all the time.
Like, that was new information to me.
Yeah. Sometimes I just black out while I'm writing. And then I'll wake up and it's done. In 1949, this 13-year-old boy, in the records of the case, his name was changed to Roland Doe to protect his privacy, was mourning the loss of a beloved aunt when he began seeing and hearing strange things. As the possession worsened, Doe began demonstrating violent superhuman strength. His parents took him to St. Louis in 1949 for a weeks-long exorcism known as the St. Louis exorcism. This is the story on which The Exorcist is based. Doe screamed, cursed, and attacked his exorcists until a miracle, according to the exorcists, finally led Roland out of this trance-like state. The boy simply stated, "He's gone." Ew.
Hold on. Okay. Clara Germana Seeley was left at Marion Hill Mission School in Umzinto, South Africa, as an orphan infant. At 16 years old, her behavior began to turn violent. The events that followed would mark one of South Africa's earliest documented exorcisms. In August of 1906, the nuns at the orphanage stated that she was tearing at her clothes, demanding to see Father Erasmus Horner, and growling. At some point in all of this, she allegedly admitted that she had made a pact with the devil. Her skin would react to contact with holy water, and she would convulse at religious symbols. She was reported to speak in tongues or in languages unknown to anyone around and have superhuman strength. At some point, she was observed levitating by 170 witnesses. This is when Father Horner obtained permission to conduct an exorcism. The exorcism took an intense 2 days, where she reportedly transformed into a serpent, tried to choke out a priest, and attacked helpers. She was finally set free of the demons. However, she did end up dying of heart failure.
Hell. You had me buying that one until it said she transformed into a serpent. And then I was like,
that's what the 170 people said.
I guess, but like I was even willing to believe she levitated. 1896, Anna Eklund. This is not her real name, however, it is one of the people associated with this classic American demonic possession case, thanks to the 2016 film, The Exorcism of Anna Eklund. Her real name was Emma Schmidt from Erling, Iowa. Yeah, Anna Eklund sounds way more exotic than Emma Schmidt. Sorry, Emma. In her true story, at the age of 14, she started showing signs of possession. A report in the local newspaper told that she showed signs of distress around religious artifacts, took part in some freaky sex shit, and really struggled with her disturbing thoughts. Her exorcism lasted from August 18th to December 23rd, 1928. Her final exorcism was performed by a Roman Catholic priest, Father Theophilus Reisinger, when she was 46 years old. This is 32 years of torture for this lady. In this exorcism, she managed to get loose from the bed and people holding her down. She levitated and seemed to cling to the wall above the bedroom door. Father Theophilus the Liphius, was unfazed and kept on trucking. Multiple demons were identified in Eklund. Some named were Beelzebub. Shit. My tongue is not operating. Can you say that?
I would say Beelzebub.
Okay. Her sexually
Beelzebub. That's it.
Her sexually abusive father and his alleged murderous mistress. I was going to say that the beginning of that story sounds exactly like a classic case of childhood sexual trauma. The demons would communicate with her father in English, German.
With the father.
With
the
father, not her father, in English, German, and Latin. 23 days into this torture, Eklund finally started coming around and started smiling for the first time in 12 years. That's crazy.
Right. So this one happened in 1842. A 28-year-old woman by the name of Gottliebin Dittus quickly became the talk of her German village when she began telling people that her house was haunted. Villagers said that she then began to go in and out of a trance-like state. She would have strong convulsions. Things got even worse after a religious pastor finished up an exorcism. She became violent and would have to be restrained. This continued for 2 long years, in which various exorcism rites would be performed. She would vomit glass, nails, and obviously blood. Then all of a sudden she decided that she was fine and the demons were gone and stated that Jesus is victor.
George Luckins, an English tailor, suddenly began to act out of character, and he began to make inhuman noises, speak in strange voices, and sing hymns in reverse. 7 priests held a ceremony in Bristol's Temple Church where they commanded the demons who inhabited Luckins to leave. When the ceremony commenced, Luckins said the Lord's Prayer and thanked everyone.
So this one, it was really interesting.
Oh, that one was in 1778, by the way.
This next one, it was really interesting, and like the link that I used for this one had like a whole thing for like the history of exorcisms and stuff. So what I got, the gist of this story was a story published in France in 1623 called Histoire Véritable. I'm not French, okay? We've learned on this podcast thus far. French is not our thing.
What is it? A cousin loving club foot something. I'd hope that you'd admire the try.
Or anyway, that means true story. Recounts the various exorcism of Denise de la Caille, who was a widowed weaver from Beauvais or something.
Beauvais.
This eyewitness account made by the court's clerk over an 18-week span told the terrifying story of a public and private exorcisms performed by a Dominican priest, Father Laurent Lepeau. Denise was covered in lice, immobile, and nearly blind. She was malnourished as she was unable to eat or drink. She would speak in tongues, be violent, and hallucinate frequently. The record also states she levitated several times. This all started on August 1st of whatever year it was, where Father Lepeau where did I even get imagine from the word summoned?
Summoned all the people.
Summoned the evil spirits with several conjurations and exorcisms. Once the spirit presented itself, the job was to find out the identity of it. In the case of Denise de la Caille, over 40 demons were conjured and named, including Beelzebub. Now, if you've been a longtime listener here, you've heard us mention that there is power in a name. Once that name is known, the spirit can then be expelled. This most time causes a lot more damage than it does healing, as it causes the symptoms to become worse. This lasted weeks for la Caille.
Beelzebub is a busy son of a bitch.
Right.
Provinciana Clarita Villanueva took a trip to Manila following the passing of her mother. She was looking for her father and a job. There, she wound up getting arrested for vagrancy. This started the dark turn her life took. and she started feeling as though there were two invisible entities that were biting her. Biting list. When she was examined by experts, she was found as mentally stable. Despite this, the public decided she was possessed, and she soon gained global recognition, including an American pastor named Lester Sumrall. Lester made his way to Manila to try and save her. The two met on May 19th, 1953, where Villanueva made several blasphemous statements that showed Sumrall just how deep her torment ran. Even the Manila mayor, Arsenio Lacson, took some time to visit with her and witness the bite marks she claimed. The exorcism lasted for 3 days. I couldn't find much in the way of details, but I did find that it was noted that she was released of 15 demons. Once she was free, she returned home and married a farmer and had babies.
That was the last one I had, unless you want to hit some of these extra links.
I mean, we can. We're only 16 minutes in.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So,
I'm going to
let's at least try to get like 10 more minutes out of it.
Okay. Oh, that first one's not a good one. That just tells like some story, or not some stories. Well, okay, so here. I'll just read through this real quick. So no, I don't like it. Never mind. Go to the next one. Yeah. I don't like the way that starts. There's some things in the world, and all that made me think of
that we don't understand.
Yeah. Anyway, so this first one is: in November of 1565, a French teenager named Nicole Aubry, sometimes spelled differently than what you would think, started to suffer from a mysterious ailment in Vervins, France. She reportedly spoke in a gruff voice, refused to eat, and was racked with convulsions, reportedly so violent that it took 12 or 15 men to hold her down. Priests in Vervins determined that Aubry was being possessed by a demon and tried to exorcise her, but they found that Aubry's demon was no run-of-the-mill evil spirit. It was Beelzebub. Yeah. The prince of the Huguenots. I've never heard that.
Busy as hell. Booked and busy.
Right. Amidst the highly charged atmosphere between French Catholics and French Huguenots, whatever, or Protestants, Aubry's alleged demonic possession became more than a provincial affair. The Bishop of Lyon himself was called to exorcise Aubry, and when he failed, the teenager was transferred to Lyon. There, Aubry's alleged demonic possession became something of a public spectacle. According to Gizmodo, she was transferred every day from the convent where she was staying to the Cathedral Notre Dame de Lyon. As a rapt crowd listened, her demon gave sermons on the evil of the what is that? Huguenots? I, with my obstinate Huguenots, will do him, or Christ, more evil than the Jews did, Aubry is said to have roared. She also reportedly told the crowd that these local whatever had taken a communion wafer, cut it up, and burned it. Ultimately, priests of the were successful in their attempts to exorcise the demon. According to the Crime of Crimes, Demonology and Politics in France, 1560 through 1620, one eyewitness said that the demon finally left Aubry's body, producing smoke, thunder, and a thick fog that encircled the bell towers of the church. It's unknown what happened to Aubry after that, but her alleged demonic possession caused waves in Lyon, ratcheting up tensions between local Catholics and Protestants. The event, called the Miracle of Lyon, even inspired copycat possessions elsewhere in France. Here it is.
If you thought all exorcisms were a thing of the past, think again. I mean, technically, this still is in the past. In 2008, board certified psychiatrist and teacher in Columbia University and New York Medical College, Dr. Richard Gallagher, declared that his patient, Julia, was possessed. She was the self proclaimed high priestess of a satanic cult, dressing in flowing black robes and black eyeshadow that went back to her temples. After feeling as if she was being attacked by a demon, Julia reached out to a local priest who reached out to Dr. Gallagher to put her through psychiatric treatment. However, Dr. Gallagher ruled out mental illness after seeing Julia speak in tongues, sharing details about his life that she couldn't have known, and entering trance-like states and making items fly off the shelves in his office. When he met Julia, he immediately began to point out the secret weaknesses of everyone in the room. She began to immediately point out the secret weaknesses of everyone in the room. She also knew that his mother had passed away from ovarian cancer. Julia went through 8 exorcisms during which she spewed threats, levitated, exhibited super strength, and changed the temperature of the room. She taunted Dr. Gallagher's team of priests and nurses in voices that didn't belong to her and began to make guttural, animalistic noises. According to Dr. Gallagher, he and his team of exorcists weren't able to fully help Julia because she called off the exorcism, saying that she enjoyed the power she received when she channeled the demonic entity possessing her body. After calling off the exorcism, he said he only heard from Julia one more time and that she was dying of cancer.
Girl, I don't know this webpage. What are you on?
I clicked the very last link.
Oh, okay. I was like, because that is 10 out of 10, not what I'm looking at. I'm sitting here scrolling through, like trying to figure out where the hell you're getting this story from. All right, hold on. Let me get back. Seeing this link gives you more than what you bargained for, because the second story on here talks about the Zozo demon.
Oh, hell.
So we're going to skip right over that bitch and move right on along to the demonic possession of Arn Cheyenne Johnson. So February 16th, 1981, 19-year-old Arn Cheyenne Johnson stabbed 40-year-old Alan Bono to death in Brookfield, Connecticut. But though Johnson's guilt seemed undeniable, his defenders offered a surprising explanation for his action. They said that the murder was caused by demonic possession. The courts have dealt with the existence of God, Johnson's attorney, Martin Manella, said, according to the New York Times. Now they're going to have to deal with the existence of the devil. Indeed, Johnson's defense team insisted that he'd been possessed by the same demon that had reportedly possessed his girlfriend's younger brother. The 12-year-old had allegedly had visions of an old man with burnt skin, suffered from severe convulsions, and kicked and bitten and cursed at his family. While trying to help his girlfriend's family with the younger brother, Johnson had allegedly spoken straight to the demon. Multiple times, the family insisted he had told the purported demon, "Come into me, leave the little lad alone." That appeal, they said, had caused Johnson's demonic possession. But though a subsequent investigation found that Johnson's girlfriend's family had sought help from priests and even from paranormal investigators, wait for it, Ed and Lorraine, for their son, local police insisted that there was nothing supernatural about Bono's murder. It was not a unusual crime, Police Chief John Anderson told the Washington Post. Somebody got angry, an argument resulted. The jury seemed to agree. After deliberating for 3 days, they found Arn Cheyenne Johnson guilty of first-degree manslaughter. He was later sentenced to 10 to 20 years in prison, though he served 5. His story, though, has lived on. 40 years after Johnson stabbed Bono to death, the 2021 film The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, dramatized this possible case of demonic possession.
You didn't do Michael Taylor, did you?
Yes, I did.
Okay, you did.
It's also on this list.
Emily Rose?
No.
Annalise Michelle? I'm going to say Michelle. being restrained by her mother. Okay, that's the description of the photo. Sorry. The fonts are the same size, so it's kind of hard to tell. The exorcism of Annalise Michelle is so frightening that it inspired the 2005 film The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Michelle was a young German woman born in 1952. At 16, she blacked out during school and began to behave out of character. Within a year of her blackout, she started wetting her bed and having seizure-like convulsions. Doctors diagnosed her with epileptic psychosis as well as visual and auditory hallucinations, for which she was hospitalized. Over time, her symptoms intensified and included an aversion toward religious iconography. Both Michelle and her Catholic family attributed her condition to demonic possession. She began claiming that she could see the devil's face and hear voices mocking her damned spirit. Her family went to the church for help, but most of the priests they spoke to urged them to see a doctor, explaining that a real-life exorcism required the authorization of a bishop. Then she got even worse. She began eating spiders, coal, and even the head of a dead bird.
Ew.
She would also drink her own urine, bark like a rabid dog, and perform hundreds of squats a day. Finally,
she had an ass that won't quit then.
Exactly. Finally, priest Ernst Alt received approval from a bishop to perform an exorcism. He spent 10 months with another priest, Arnold Renz, performing 67 exorcisms on her. During the exorcisms, she claimed to be possessed by Adolf Hitler, Nero, Lucifer, Cain, Judas, and a disgraced priest named Fleischmann. Her condition worsened and she broke bones in her knees from repeatedly kneeling for prayer. She soon stopped eating food altogether and died of malnutrition and dehydration at the age of 23 in 1976. The priests and the family were investigated, charged with negligent homicide, and found guilty of manslaughter.
Here's one. You ready for this? As soon as I started reading this, I was like, I already know this one. And I feel like we've slightly discussed it. Shortly after Latoya Amons and her family moved into their Gary, Indiana rental house in November of 2011, they started feeling that something was off. Flies swarmed their porch, they heard footsteps at night, and they found inexplicable wet footprints on the floor. But that was just the beginning of their ordeal. According to the Indy Star, things soon got even scarier in March 2012. Amons and her mother claimed that they saw Amon's 12-year-old daughter levitating from her bed. They reached out to church officials who instructed them to draw crosses using oil on their windows and doors, and to clairvoyants who claimed that the house contained 200 demons. The clairvoyant suggested that Amons and her family move. Amons didn't have the money to do so, and things soon allegedly even got worse. Before long, the purported demons started targeting her 3 children, who allegedly flew across the room against their will and described hearing threatening voices. When Amons brought them to the hospital, her youngest son growled and tried to strangle his brother. There, Amon's mother, a nurse, and a Department of Child Services caseworker witnessed Amon's older boy walk backward onto the ceiling. He walked up the wall, flipped over her, and stood there. The nurse insisted there's no way he could have done that. Though a clinical psychologist who examined the children believed that they were deluded by Amons' own beliefs, a number of police officers who visited the Amons home also reported paranormal experiences. Officers took a photo in the home that appeared to show a mysterious face and recorded audio that appeared to pick up someone whispering, "Hey." A priest eventually conducted 3 exorcisms on Amons, which seemed to help. She and her family have since moved out of the house, and the new tenant apparently has had no issues with the demons since, only with the curious looky-loos who drive by the cursed home to take a peek. And if any of this sounds familiar to you, and if you look up the house and you recognize it, it is featured in the 2019 episode of Ghost Adventures entitled Demon House. Because, of course, why would Zach Bagans not be a part of that?
Right.
And if I'm not mistaken, I feel like I heard that he bought that house. I could be completely wrong and off base, and I'm sorry if I am.
I don't know. There's a frog in this room. Anyway.
Oh,
I'm tired.
Yeah, what's our nonprofit? It's an October one, girl.
I know. I have it open already. I was looking right at it. Tennessee Voices. As you all know, mental health is something that is near and dear to my heart as a mentally ill individual.
Hey, where's my phone? Mentally ill, but totally chill.
Exactly. Nearly 4 in 10 Tennessee adults report symptoms of anxiety or depression, a rate that is higher than the national average. And Tennessee ranks among the top 10 states for both mental illness prevalence and limited access to care, with rural areas facing extreme shortages and some counties only having one provider for every 6,800 residents. Without intervention, these factors create self-perpetuating cycles, and a child raised in a home with untreated trauma often becomes an adult struggling to parent, compounding stress for future generations. The economic burden is staggering. Mental health crises lead to ER overuse, workforce disruptions, and public system strain, costing far more than preventative community-based care. And Tennessee Voices are a collaborative leader in mental health and family well-being, and serving thousands of children, parents, and adults across all 95 counties with services that prevent crisis, heal trauma, and build long-term stability. And should you feel inclined to donate to this organization, there will be a link to donate to them directly in the description and on our socials.
And while you're looking for that on our socials, make sure that you're following us on Facebook,
Instagram,
TikTok,
YouTube.
And if you're sitting there and you think, man, I saw this thing and I really want to know more about it, and I really feel like the Wanderers of Weird should really take a look into that for me and do all that work for me. You should really send us an email to let us know what it is that you want to hear about. And that email address is
wanderersofweird@gmail.com.
Okay, bye.
Good night.